Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the House State Government Committee. I'm going to ask all in the room to please stand and join me as we pledge allegiance to our flag before we proceed into our meeting today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Please join me in bowing your head for a quick prayer. Father, we thank you for this day and this opportunity to meet. Bless our meeting and everything that we do. Let us give you glory in Jesus' name. Amen. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Decker, Representative Donworth, Representative Griffey.
Here.
Representative Hancock.
Here.
Representative Hodgson. Representative Huff.
Here.
Representative Imes.
Here.
Representative Johnson.
Here.
Representative Lehman. Representative Lewis.
Here.
Representative Maddox.
Here.
Representative Proctor. Representative Tate. Representative Thompson.
Here.
Representative Tipton.
Here.
Representative Watkins.
Present.
Representative Williams.
Here.
Representative Witten.
Here.
Representative Raymer.
Here.
Representative Hale.
Present. We do have a quorum today to do business. This is our sixth meeting of the House State Government Committee. Welcome again to everyone. Just real quickly, as I always announce, please silence your cell phones. And if anyone needs to leave the room for another vote, I know there's a lot of committees going on. Please just let us recognize you when you get back and we will record your vote. We are going to go out of turn just a little bit today. We have some folks, that, as we all have been this morning, running here and there, trying to get our meetings in. We are going to go first to Senate Bill 176, which is sponsored by Senator Nunn. Senator Nunn, would you please come to the table, please? 176 is an act relating to the Legislative Research Commission. And Senator, if you don't mind to introduce yourself for the record, and then the floor will be yours, sir.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Thank you, committee members. I am Senator Matt Nunn, representing District 17.
And there is a committee sub on this bill. Is there a motion there is a motion. Is there a second? All in favor of the adoption of the committee sub with a voice vote, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. You now may proceed, sir, with the committee sub adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The purpose of Senate Bill 176 is to make various updates to statutes establishing the various statutory committees within the Legislative Research Commission. There are technically 13 statutory committees, boards, and commissions within the jurisdiction of the legislatures, and each of these committees were established over the years to serve various roles within the legislative branch. Provisions included in Senate Bill 176 were brought to my attention by LRC staff in an effort to streamline when committee membership appointments are made on these statutory committees, establish a timeline for filling vacancies on statutory committees, and to identify the appointing authorities for statutory committee
Motion on the bill.
There is a motion and a second on the bill. Is there any discussion on Senate Bill 176 as amended by the committee substitution? Seeing no questions or comments, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Decker. Representative Donworth. Representative Griffey.
Yes.
Representative Hancock.
Yes.
Representative Hodgson. Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Imes.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Lehman. Representative Lewis.
Aye.
Representative Maddox.
Yes.
Representative Proctor. Representative Raymer.
Yes.
Representative Tate. Representative Thompson.
Yes.
Representative Tipton.
Yes.
Representative Watkins.
Aye.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Representative Witten. Representative Hale.
Yes. Senate Bill 176, as adopted by the committee sub, passes with 15 yes votes, 0 no votes. Should do the same on the House floor. There is a motion on the title amendment. Is there a second? All in favor of the title, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The title amendment carries. Thank you, Senator Nunn.
Thank you, Mr.
Glad
Chairman.
to have you in
members
our
of the
committee today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are real quickly, another member has requested, and I certainly apologize. I hope I'm not upsetting anyone, but Senator Maiden, would you please come to the table at this time? We are going to, at this point, take up, let me find my page here, Senate Bill 104.
Yes, sir.
Senate Bill 104. Sir, would you please identify yourself for the record, and your guest that is with you, identify yourself if you don't mind, and then the floor will be yours.
I'm Scott Maiden, Senate District 29.
I'm Chris Biddle. I'm the Executive Director for the Kentucky Public Employees Deferred Compensation Authority.
Welcome, gentlemen, to our committee today. Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. This Senate Bill 104, deferred compensation for state employees, I think it passed the House last year with Representative Hodgson carrying the bill 93-0. It passed the Senate 36-0. The first three parts of the bill are cleanup. It deals with they don't currently have a codified fiduciary standard for $4.5 billion they manage. They'd like to align that with the other current pension plans. Number two, it gives the option for them to purchase less expensive liability insurance, but yet cover the investments accurately and sufficiently. Number three, it applies self-correcting mechanisms to comply with federal law that there has been more changes in the last 4 years than there has in the past 40. So and that also would keep them from having to come back to us every year for self-correcting. The last one is an add that they're wanting to add, and it adds a self-directed brokerage account. It currently affects about 2% of their employees using these type of accounts. They have like 3 years worth of data that they have used. Most of these accounts that they have, the folks that have them, have a 7.5% larger balance than the other ones. Of course, there's more risk in those, but they want to add that to their package. So if there's any question, I'll be glad to answer them. If I can, I'm sure he can.
There is a motion on the bill. Is there a second? Having a motion and a second on this bill, is there any discussion at this time? Any questions? Seeing no questions, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Decker, Representative Donworth, Representative Griffey, Representative Hancock, Representative Hodgson, Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Imes,
Yes.
Representative Johnson, Representative Lehman, Representative Lewis,
Aye.
Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative Proctor, Representative Raymer,
Yes.
Representative Tate, Representative Thompson,
Yes.
Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Watkins,
Aye.
Representative Williams,
Yes.
Representative Witten, Representative Hale.
Yes. Senate Bill 104, having 15 yes votes, 0 nay votes, passes with favorable expression. Should do the same on the House floor. Thank you, gentlemen,
Thank
for
you,
being
Mr.
with us
Chairman.
today.
Appreciate you letting us go.
Yes, sir.
Another
You're
bill
very
up.
welcome. We now move to the third item, and I am going to Senate Bill 9 at this point. Senator Higdon, would you please come to the table? Senate Bill 9 is an act relating to teacher benefit provisions and also declaring emergencies. Senator, if you don't mind, for the record, introduce yourself, and then we do have a committee substitute to adopt.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jimmy Higdon, State Senator, 14th Senate District.
There is a committee substitute to adopt before us. Is there a motion on the sub? Motion on the sub. There is a motion. Is there a second? Having a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor of adoption of the committee sub, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The committee sub is adopted to Senate Bill 9. So Senator Higdon, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 9 looks at some of the benefits of teachers' retirement, especially the sick days. But this bill also allows maternity leave up to 30 days. I've been asked a lot about what about adoption or paternal. This bill has a clause in it that says if any school district wants to go above and beyond 30 days or add any other provisions, that they're welcome to do that. This bill does not restrict them from doing it, but it gives them, I think, 4 or 5 years for all the districts to comply. It allows them every year, starting next year, every year they can roll over 13 days to be counted toward their retirement. Now, most school districts, all school districts give 10 sick days. Many of them, we're all over the board on how many additional personal days and emergency days that they give. We have some school districts that give 10 days plus one. We've got some that 10 days plus 2 personal days. Some are 10 days plus 3 personal days. We've got districts that are up to 16 days that they allow to roll over. Now that's, every teacher in the state ought to have access to the same number of days that are supplemented by the taxpayers. So now there's a caveat in this too. If the school district wants to give more, that school district that's given 16, if they want to continue to do 16, this bill says that the school district can pay the actuarial cost of those days. Also in there's the annual leave. It also states we found out that we have administrators that are taking their annual leave once they max out on the 60 days that they're able to move to the retirement, that they're taking annual leave and rolling it into sick days. This stops that practice. That there's nowhere in state law that says that can happen. So but there's nowhere in state law that says you can't do it. So this says you can't do it. It also adds some very important reporting. And each school district had to report the number of sick days, number of annual leave days, and their sick day policy. Mr. Chairman, we got not only we have the 172 school districts and the co-ops, we have about 30 other agencies of state government that allow annual leave. And TRS is the only retirement system in state government that allows for annual leave to be counted toward retirement. All the other retirement systems require those annual leave to be counted as service credit, which does not count toward retirement. Also adds WeLeads, the Virtual Computer Science Career Academy, to our approved list of state agencies. Also includes cleanup language from TRS. As you look through the bill, there's these little segments, and I've looked at all of them. They're all things that we've talked about in the past, and TRS, that they brought that. Schools, all the schools can voluntarily give a new teacher, one in Tier 4, a bonus for a new teacher up to $1,000 a year for 5 years to help with the teacher shortage. If that, I don't know if that'll help or not, but it's in there. Mr. Chairman, I can answer questions. I can give you, that's the Cliff Notes. I can give you the whole load if you want it, but I think you get the point.
Thank you, sir. There is a motion on the bill. Is there a second? There is a second. We do have a few questions. Representative Donworth, you are first. Representative, is your mic working? It
It's
doesn't.
on. I guess I better use the other one. All right, I'll
Yeah.
say that again.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Senator Higdon. This is, I think, a really, really great bill. My question is essentially around the maternity leave. I think what we're seeing across other industries is that maternity leave has been extended and offered for both natural birth or both births as well as for adoption or foster care systems, foster care placements. Is that something that you considered? And if you, I'll leave it there. Is that something you considered?
We certainly considered it, but this is the bare minimum that school systems will have to do 30 up to 30 maternity days once this is fully implemented. But there's also a clause in there that says if a school system wants to go beyond that, they want to allow the leave for adoption and or leave paternal. They can add anything they want, but it pretty much is a baseline up to at least 30 days. Okay. And so if they want to add more, we have school systems now that have more than that, and there's a clause in there that says, yeah, that's good. If you want to do more, that's great.
Okay. Follow-up question on that.
Yes, please.
Would that, if they did opt to give more, would that still qualify for retirement system qualifications?
It does. The maternity leaves do not count. You can't use those for anything else other than maternity leave. They don't carry forward as sick days. They don't carry forward to use in your final compensation, your high 3 or high 5. So they're strictly for leave and not to be accumulated.
Great. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Representative Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Hickman, for bringing this forward. We've served together on PPOB for a while now, and we've heard a lot of conversation about this issue and many others with our public pension systems. I know back, one thing we learned back in 2020, actually 21, because we put it in the 22 budget, is we paid down the actuarial cost, or not actuarial cost, but the accrued cost of sick days that had not been paid for years, about $350 million out of in that budget. We also have learned that there is a cost, an unfunded liability cost associated with these sick days for our active teachers. Do you currently know what the current value of that figure is? We're trying to just kind of make sure we're consistent, but also limit that liability to the taxpayers.
You correct me if I'm wrong, or Representative Johnson can. I think that number's about $800 million, and we thought we paid it all off when we paid off the green box dollars, but we found out that assumption was wrong. So it's about $800 million. And thank you, by the way, for your work on this bill.
Senator Higdon, I just had one follow-up question. Also serving on PPOB, you made the statement about some schools actually went up to 16 days.
Yes, sir.
And you said that the actuarial cost of that would have to be paid by the district. Am I correct? Above and beyond what?
Above the 13th.
Above the, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So they would owe if that school district continued to give 16 days, they would owe the for every day that they went over, they would owe the actuarial cost to the pension system. The pension system would bill them for those extra days.
Above the 13.
Above the 13.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing no further questions, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Senate Bill 9 as amended by the committee substitute.
Representative Decker, Representative Donworth, Representative Griffey,
Yes.
Representative Hancock,
Yes.
Representative Hodgson, Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Imes,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Lehman, Representative Lewis, Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative Proctor,
Yes. And may I record my votes?
Let's wait till we conclude.
Representative Raymer,
Yes.
Representative Tate, Representative Thompson,
Yes.
Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Watkins,
Aye.
Representative Williams,
Yes.
Representative Witten, Representative Hale.
Yes. Senate Bill 9, as amended by the committee substitute, passes with 15 yes votes, 0 no votes, passes with favorable expression, and should do the same on the House floor. Thank you, Senator Higdon. We appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and thank all those who worked with me on this bill. Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is going to be Senate Bill 129, sponsored by Senator Rack Adams. Senator Adams, would you please come to the table, please? Rocky Adams, I'm sorry. Pardon me. I knew that.
I had someone call and I knew it was a cold call because they said, "Is Mrs. Ragu home?" And I'm like, "No, she's out making spaghetti sauce."
I suppose we better move on from the spaghetti sauce statement. Senator Rocky Adams, would you please introduce yourself, and the other gentleman there may introduce himself, and then we do have a committee substitute to adopt.
Thank you. Julie Rocky Adams, State Senate, District 36.
John Hodgson, State House, District 36.
There is a committee sub on this bill. Is there a motion on the sub? There is a motion. Is there a second? There is a motion and a second. All in favor of the adoption of the committee sub, please say aye. Any opposed? The committee substitute passes, and you may proceed with Senate Bill 129 as adopted by the committee substitute.
Thank you. I'll handle the original portion of the bill, which is Senate Bill 129. 129 was one of the ideas that resulted from the interim housing task force. And I really believe that it's kind of a step in the right direction to tackle the issue of vacant and abandoned properties and affordable housing all at the same time. And so what it does is its intention is to be a solution to the housing shortage in Metro Louisville. And the bill enables nonprofits that want to acquire blighted or abandoned properties the ability to either rehabilitate or revitalize. It passed off the Senate floor 34-3, so it passed overwhelmingly. It's a way for, right now Metro Louisville kind of holds those tax delinquents like really closely. And so nonprofits have said, we'd like to buy those tax delinquent properties in order to revitalize. So what this does is it sets up a mechanism by which after 90 days, and if you are a qualified nonprofit, you have the opportunity to purchase that tax delinquent property.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
House members are somewhat familiar with the other provisions of the bill. It has provisions in there about density development, that single-family neighborhoods that are receiving a request for development that would increase the traffic flow beyond current levels or enable their emergency services to not function as they should would require a vote of the elected council in consolidated local governments. Also talks about accessory dwelling units, that if you choose to rent out an accessory dwelling unit in a single-family neighborhood, that the owner must live in one of the buildings on the lot to avoid turning a single-family lot into a multifamily lot. There are incentives for urban development for projects that are over 50% residential. There's a fire and emergency response to neglected properties provision that lets them collect if a landlord has been delinquent in keeping up with the property, keeping up with the fire prevention code. There's a central business district tax fix that helps share the tax burden in the central business district across the county. And then the last section is that if there are binding elements approved by a vote of the elected officials, that those same elected officials have to have a vote to change those elements.
Are you concluded?
Happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Thanks.
I was waiting. There is a motion on the bill. Is there a second? There is a motion and a second on Senate Bill 129 as proposed or as amended by the committee substitute. We do have two questions currently. Representative Johnson, you may go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to both of y'all for bringing this legislation. I think it's much needed. And my community at home in Owensboro, we're having similar conversations about these blighted and deserted properties that the city has, through whatever mechanism, has acquired. I was curious, does your legislation discuss the mechanism for selling the properties? Is it going to be by auction, or is it pay the taxes and it's yours, or buy it for $1, or does it discuss that?
Yeah, it does. It actually, so let's say that you are a qualified nonprofit. It kind of lays out the qualifications in order to be a qualified nonprofit. That goes to the Department of Revenue. And so after, the city's just sitting on these delinquent properties. And so after 90 days, if the Department of Revenue qualifies you as somebody that's able to do this, then after that 90-day waiting period, you can make the proposal to the city and say, I'd like to buy, these 4 lots. And it was brought to us, we talked about it in the housing task force, but we have a lot of nonprofits in Louisville that would love to revitalize certain parts of particularly the West End and South End, and they just can't get their hands on these properties. So, you go through the process. You have to meet 4 criteria, and then you become eligible to purchase.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Representative Watkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks for this bill. So I'm a representative from Louisville. I actually have 5 years of land banking experience. I used to run the very land bank 10 years ago when this was a thing. So I have some very specific questions about this. And I know some of the nonprofits that you speak to, specifically to what qualifies as a diverted tax delinquency purchaser. I don't think I see anything here that makes sure the nonprofit is in compliance with, let's just say, local code enforcement, or they don't already own property that are, delinquent themselves. Can you speak to that? And then I have a quick follow-up after that, Mr. Chair.
And, I don't know what the protection would be for that nonprofit other than, I think that the process that they would have to go through would weed out those bad actors and probably only secure the good actors, the ones, that want to do this. And like I said, it was brought, one of the players was the Housing Partnership, which is who brought this to us, that they feel like they can do more work. They just can't have access to that.
Thank you for that. I know of several nonprofits that do real estate development in Louisville that have code enforcement liens out the wazoo.
Yeah.
And they are not good actors. Some of them are not. I don't know if this prohibits that. Secondly, in the follow-up, and my last, Mr. Chair, does this circumvent the actual land bank? So we're talking about properties that the city has title to that have been declared. So in this event, if the Department of Revenue after 90 days classifies this property, then we're saying a qualified purchaser goes to
it's the tax delinquency diversion program.
Right.
That's how it would flow through.
But that means that they would circumvent the actual process of the actual land bank that has title to the property.
Yes, and the reason is because they're just sitting there right now. Like, they don't have access to them. This is just another mechanism in which we can get vacant and abandoned properties back into affordable housing and use. And so, I've been in the General Assembly for a while, and I know that Representative Joni Jenkins tried to kind of crack this nut and figure out how we can all work together to get these, to kind of revitalize some certain parts. And we always seem to run into roadblocks. And so I'm hoping that this might be a fresh approach to helping those folks kind of get in, take a hold of the property, and make it a really nice place to either rent or own.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Also, we're talking about a big portion of my district is the west end of Louisville. We're talking about folks and I've actually sold these properties before. I've sold hundreds of properties with the land bank. I know exactly what you're talking about. I am just concerned, not necessarily about the circumvention of the land bank portion, but I'm concerned about some actors that would possibly qualify under this that already have problem properties in the city that we're dealing with. But for that, Mr. Chair, I'll just hold the rest of mine. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Representative Hancock, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as the sale of these, the delinquent taxes, is this going to add any additional burden onto our county clerks? Is it require them to do continued tax sales other than their annual tax sale?
Yeah, I had I actually talked about this with an individual on Saturday, and it's primarily just Jefferson County, and I talked to the clerk there, and they are very supportive, and I had to assure that it won't interfere with any other counties, so you're good.
Thank you.
Sure.
Seeing no further discussion or questions, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Senate Bill 129 as was amended by the committee substitute.
Representative Decker, Representative Donworth, Representative Griffey,
Yes.
Representative Hancock,
Yes.
Representative Hodgson,
Aye.
Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Imes,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Lehman, Representative Lewis, Representative Maddox.
No.
Is that a no? Representative Proctor, Representative Raymer,
Yes.
Representative Tate, Representative Thompson,
Yes.
Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Watkins.
Brief explanation, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I'm a pass, but I just have a couple more questions, and I think I'll come around. Thanks.
Was that a pass, sir? A pass.
Representative Williams,
Yes.
Representative Witten,
Yes.
Representative Hale.
Yes. Senate Bill 129, as amended by the committee substitute, passes with 13 yes votes, 1 no vote, and 1 pass vote. Passes with favorable expression. Should do the same on the House floor. There is a title. Is there a motion for the title amendment? There is a motion. Is there a second? There is a motion and second. All in favor of adoption of the title amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Title is adopted. Yes, ma'am. Do you have to leave and want to record a vote?
Yes, I've got a few votes I'd like to record.
Yes, go
please.
ahead.
Yes.
Please do that.
Senate Bill 9, I'm a yes. Senate Bill 104, a yes. Senate Bill 176, I'm a yes.
All right. Thank you, Senator Rocky Adams. We appreciate that today. We move to the last item on the agenda this afternoon, and that will be Senate Bill 178, which is sponsored by Senator Nemes. Senate Bill 178 is an act relating to education and labor cabinet reorganization. Senator Nemes, you know the drill, sir. Please identify yourself for the record, and then you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'm Senator Mike Nemes from Bullitt County,
Thank you.
District 38. This is a real quick bill. It's needed because of what the General Assembly mandated, the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, to move the Office of Employer, to move the Department of Disabilities Determination Services program from the Cabinet of Health and Family Services to the Labor Cabinet, which they have done. Now we need to codify it into law. That's as simple as that.
Motion on the bill.
There is a motion and a second on the bill. Seeing no discussion, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Decker, Representative Donworth,
Yes.
Representative Griffey,
Yes.
Representative Hancock, Representative Hodgson, Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Imes,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Lehman, Representative Lewis, Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative Proctor, Representative Raymer, Representative Tate, Representative Thompson,
Yes.
Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Watkins, Representative Williams,
Yes.
Representative Witten,
Yes.
Representative Hale.
Yes. Senate Bill 178 passes with 12 yes votes, 0 no votes. Passes with favorable expression. Should do the same on the House floor. Thank you,
Thank you,
Senator
Mr.
Nemes. Did anyone else come in that I'd missed that needs to record a vote? We do have someone coming real quick. We'll pause just a minute.
And
Representative, please, if you'd like to record your votes at this time.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Take your time. Go ahead.
I'd like to record Senate Bill 104, a yes. Senate Bill 129, a no. Senate Bill 176, yes. And Senate Bill 178, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we adjourn, I just want to thank the members. This is, in all likelihood, probably our last meeting of the year, unless somebody calls for one tonight or tomorrow. But I want to thank all the members. I've enjoyed my role here and your role as members, and I would like to thank the staff very much. I'd like for us to give the staff a round of applause, please, today, for their very hard work and their diligent work and their time.